Greetings, my name is Tim Johnson. This is Recovery, Strength, Hope and Courage. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. That's a saying from, again, from the Tao Te Ching. It's a philosophy that I follow, a life philosophy that I follow. It's not a religion, but it's 3,000 years old. There's many sayings that ring true today, and it brings me on to today's what I wanted to talk about, which was the gifts that addiction can bring you. And a lot of you will jump back in shot and think, well, it's brought me nothing but misery and pain and suffering. And yes, it does. There's no doubt about that. But it can bring you many gifts into your life that you may never otherwise would have experienced. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. And over the years, over the sort of 35 years that I've been addicted to opiates and alcohol, I've met and talked to many hundreds of addicts, whether it be in the rehabs I've attended or the counselling groups I've attended or online, on the various groups I'm in, etc., and people, and those that I've met in life in general. And I'm the sort of person that going through all of this, I'm naturally inquisitive, so that I do a lot of research and I listen to a lot of people. And I think this is what this is all about. This is all about being open-minded and listening to the evidence and talking to people with experience. And I'm just passing on my experience to you today and my views. It doesn't necessarily mean that they'll apply to every single one of you that's listening to this, but I think a good many of you will be able to relate to what I'm actually talking about. I've searched for many years for the cause, the reasons, because as I said yesterday, and this video is not about actually going into depth into how you're going to cure all of this and the natural panacea for it all, and look back at my other videos for that. There are 70 of them, and there's many that will apply to this. But I've been thinking long and hard about it, and I've always thought, I've had a lovely marriage, beautiful children, good job, good career, money, nice houses, nice cars, jewelry, all the things, all the material things, and yet still I've spent 35 years of misery and addiction. And I look back, and I think probably a lot of you will be able to relate to this. The feeling I had all through this was a feeling inside, a void, an emptiness, a searching, a restlessness, a feeling of dissatisfaction and discontentedness that I could never satisfy, and also a feeling of pain that I wanted to medicate, and but most of all, on top of all of this, a feeling of disconnection, of sort of, if you like, inner loneliness, not belonging. And I filled all those things with drugs and alcohol, basically, to cut a long story short. And I think probably a lot of you can relate to that. And there's many studies been done. And again, this doesn't, again, tar everyone with the same brush, but certainly a massive percentage of people who fall into dependence or addiction, if you like, do so because they're medicating trauma from their childhoods or pain that they've suffered through their life. Parents' divorces. I'm not talking just about abuse here, physical or whatever, sexual abuse or all those sort of things, although they play a massive part in sort of those childhood traumas with some people. But I'm talking about sort of this general feeling of disconnection and discontentedness. And all my life I've searched for this, but the problem is, you see, when you fill that void or try to fill that void, that's that disconnection with drugs and alcohol, you become more disconnected and more lost and more in pain, and eventually your tolerance becomes such an extent that you're just staving off withdrawal symptoms. You're not really medicating the pain, the suffering, the gap, the void, if you like, the emptiness and the restlessness. You're just going around in a circle like a hamster's treadwheel of addiction, just medicating your withdrawal symptoms. until it becomes to a point where you just want to curl up in a ball and die, you know. And I can relate to all those things because I've experienced them. But what I'm talking about, the gifts that addiction can bring you, they stem from that feeling. Because when you leave all that behind, when you fight through the pain of withdrawal and get into recovery, you get an opportunity to recreate yourself, if you like. Because when you're lost, you know, it's not a case of finding yourself. It's a case of actually recreating yourself, and you get this opportunity that not many people get. You know, in the world today, of recreating yourself from scratch and learning about yourself and reconnecting, if you like. And the problem in today's society is that 99% of people really are disconnected and they're not happy. You know, they may not fall into addiction, but they have this, or they may not think they fall into addiction. But many and many of them are self-medicating because they feel this restlessness, this discontentedness. They're not happy inside. They don't have this inner happiness and or this connectedness because you know they go around. They hate their jobs. They struggle from day to day. You know, they're not happy in what they do. They're staring at the phones all day. They're not connected with anything really. They have no, you know, they just go round on this treadmill. And if they're not medicating with drugs, you know, at the end of the day, they're whatever these people try and tell you, they're knocking back alcohol at the end of the night, you know, or during the day, even, you know, just to stave away these feelings or to, you know, and they give themselves excuses because we've been brainwashed from an early age. You know, we're told by our parents what to do and etc. etc. All along the way, you know, we're given rules, regulations to follow. You know, a way of life. We go to school, we have to get a job, we provide, etc. etc. We're on that hamster's wheel, and we don't get an opportunity. We lose that connection, and particularly with modern technology now, it's become a nightmare because you know we're just constantly, you know, staring at our phones all the time. We have no connection at all. So these people are self-medicating. They're not doing it with alcohol or drugs. They're doing it with food, sex, whatever gives them this instant gratification, because that's what we're looking for when we've got this feeling of, in our pit of our stomach, this feeling of pain, if you like. We want rid of it. The human brain does not like pain at all. You know, it wants to avoid it at all costs. Discomfort, pain, dissatisfaction. So instant gratification takes place, you know, and you're looking for that feeling of that rush of your head, that dopamine rush, if you like. And I think this is why we become addicted. You know, a lot of us, and and certainly that's probably why I became addicted. You know, and I was searching for that all the way. And once you're on that hamster's wheel, it's very difficult to get off because fear takes hold. Then, you know, fear of, because you're trying to hide from emotions that you don't want to feel, fear you don't want to feel, all those things that are uncomfortable. You know, but the thing is, you know, when you come out and you come out the other side into recovery, what I've discovered is that you get this opportunity to recreate, and you do that and rebuild yourself, and you do that by first of all rediscovering and getting in touch with yourself with, you know, just by your diet and your exercise and facing those feelings clean, because we're meant to face those feelings, aren't we? You know, we're meant to face sadness and we're meant to have experienced happiness and envy and greed. You know, we're meant to feel, you know, we're meant to feel all these emotions and deal with them, you know, as a human being. Because let's face it, we get a fleeting moment of consciousness, you know, in this life, a fleeting moment of consciousness it is. But 99% of us aren't conscious. So, you know, we just go through this life experiencing nothing and not feeling this connection, if you like. And I just want you to think about the gifts that, you know, because I feel now, you know, through various things, and look back at my other videos. I'm not going to go into great depth now about it, but I feel now, you know, that that I've found this now. That I've found this inner feeling. You know, I've filled this void, and I've filled it with just putting out positivity and love, and I've connected my connections with. Some people find this connection with spirituality. Well, spirituality is a massive umbrella, isn't it? Some find it with religion and God and Allah and all these things, which is absolutely fine. That gap can be filled by religion. You know, I found it. I just happen to have found it by a philosophy called Dao De Jing, the Taoism, and that's a connection with nature and the natural things. Because I just truly believe that we're all totally connected. We're all one. You know, we're all carbon life forms, and we're all, this is all one, and we come from there and we go back to there basically. But this fleeting moments of consciousness, we might as well experience it to the best of our abilities and do the best we can. And that's why, you know, and my other philosophies are don't take things personally, never assume things, and always do your best. You know, you can't go wrong with these philosophies, and kindness, and putting kindness and love out. And that's what it's all about. So these gifts, you know, and there's many more gifts that because addiction can bring you health that you could never have dreamed of, a mental clarity and a contentment that you could never have dreamed of in a previous life. You learn about yourself, because it's not until you're truly lost that you can find yourself. It's simple as that. And that's what addiction does. You become truly lost in it. And when you come out the other side, the gifts it gives you are amazing. You know, I could never have experienced this happiness if I hadn't have experienced addiction. I don't believe I could. You know, I've truly learned from it, and I think that's what it's all about. Life is a learning process, isn't it? You know, and you know, it's not until, like I say, it's not until you rediscover who you really are and what you really are that you can find this inner peace and this inner happiness. I just wanted to get that across, and it's a bit rambly, I know. And again, look at my other videos for the ways to come out the other side and come into recovery. And I truly believe that you will never experience a feeling of tranquility, a feeling almost of transcendence. That if you find this connection, however you find it, if you find it through whatever spirituality or you define as spirituality, you find it in, whether it be nature, whether it be religion, whether it be whatever it may be, just in fitness and in health and well-being is a way of finding that feeling of spirit, because the body-mind connection are massive. If you keep that body healthy, that mind will be healthy as well. There's no doubt about that. So please, guys, all I can say is that learn from the gifts that addiction has given you. Don't look at it as a truly negative experience, because it can be an extremely positive experience in your life when you rebuild your life. And that's what it's all about, recreating yourself and rebuilding yourself, you know, step by step. Determination, discipline, and commitment. That's what it takes. But once you get through those early months and you get into this lifestyle, because it is a lifestyle, it doesn't matter how busy you are, what your life is, you can do this, you know, and you can experience these feelings. So look back at my other videos, subscribe if you like them, and like them if you like them, because more people see them that way. And if they can help anybody, I'm delighted. Give it a think. You know, it's just something to mull over this and think on. Because I'm not saying that we're all tied with the same brush, as I say, but many of us have this gap that we need to fill, and filling it is very, very important to find this true feeling of this true consciousness, if you like, conscious consciousness. Okay, so that's it for today. Don't forget, seize the day today to do this. Carpe diem, seize the day. And if you're struggling, please just hold on. Day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour, whatever it is, just hold on, because it will get better, and it does get better along the way, you know. Much love to you all. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.